Hello friends, welcome back. So yes, I want us to now um, look at the examples, the application method. We have looked at the theory. Okay, on our previous video we tried to prove the sum of the arithmetic series formula. Okay, so right here I want us to use the formula. So we have a series here. Okay, so you need to identify, okay, your A. You need to identify your A your A and your last term. All right, so these are the things that you need to identify. So let us look at this arithmetic series. All right, so we are told that this is an arithmetic series. Okay, so A, we know that A is equal to T1 is equal to 4. All right, what about D? D, we get it from T2 minus T1. So we can see from here that T1 is 4, T2 is 11, T3 is 18, T4 is 25, and so forth. So here we are going to sub for T2 11. All right, 11 11 we subtract. What are we subtracting? That is T1. Okay, so 11 minus the 4. Okay, so we're gonna subtract the 4. Yes, if you are not sure, right, you are not confident enough, continue to write T3 minus T2. Yes. Okay, so what is T3? From here we can see that T3 is 18, so it's going to be 18 minus 11, right? So we get the answer. 11 minus 4 is 7. Okay, so 18 yes, minus 11, that is a 7 as well. So this gives the confidence, okay, that D is 7. Okay, so D is 7. What about the last term? L for the last term. The last term, the last number of the terms. Okay, so as we look at these numbers, the last term is 368. So I can write here 368 as the last term. So the question here is determine the sum. Determine the sum of the arithmetic series. The question says determine the sum of the arithmetic series. Okay, so like I said, this is the application of the formula. Okay, I noticed that in my previous video, although I proved it right, but I wrote it wrong inside here. Right, that is supposed to be 2a plus n minus 1d. Okay, that is not clear. The second one is equal to n divided by 2a plus l. Okay, so these are the two formulas for the sum of the arithmetic series. Okay, so do I have everything? What is it that I have? For this, I cannot use this because I have L, the last term, so I don't want to use this. Right, it's not the best option, it's not the right option. We are going to use this formula to calculate. Alright, but one thing is, if you look at this series, right, if you look at this series, it's very tricky. It's a tricky series. Why? Because we don't know how many terms are in this series. We don't know the number of terms are in this series. Why do I say so? Because if you look at these dots, they tell us that there are numbers that are missing. Okay, so we do not know whether they are 10 missing, 1500, or whatever. Okay, so it's much better to calculate. Okay, so let us try and calculate the number of terms. Okay, so let's try and calculate the number of terms. So Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1d. Okay, so Tn is the last term, we know that. Okay, so the last term is 368, which is equal to A4 plus n, that is what we are looking for. D is 7. Okay, alright, so 68 subtracting, okay, let's just write it down. 68 is equal to 4. 7 times n, that is 7n minus 7. Okay, so that is 68 plus, right? It's gonna be 68, because 4 minus 7 is minus 3. When we transpose the minus 3, we add it to 368, right? It's gonna be 371. Okay, so on the left hand side we have 371 is equal to 7n, right? So we're gonna divide both sides. We have to divide both sides by 7. 371 divided by 7 is equal to 7n divided by 7. So therefore n, okay, so n is gonna be 371 divided by 7, which is 53. Okay, so that all these terms, okay, they are 53. These terms, they are 53. Okay, so they are 53. Let me just say something to you. Now let us check here. Alright, let us check here how many terms do we have. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have only 5 terms. Okay, so which means we are left with 48 terms. Okay, because 53 minus the 5 terms, that is 48. Okay, so how would we have predicted that in between there is 48 missing terms? So this is the safest way of how to do it. Guys, we have n as 53, but that is not the answer. So let us proceed. The question says solve or determine the sum of the arithmetic term. So the sum, that is the addition. So which means we are going to add all. Okay, so n is 53, right? A is 4, D is 7, right? So n is 53. Now we have that. Okay, and we have the last term as 368. Okay, so the sum formula is n divided by 2, a plus l. Okay, so the sum to 53 terms, because they are 53, is number of terms 53 divided by 2, right? 53, yes. multiplied by 4 plus 368. That is the last term. Okay, so this is how we do it, guys. All right, so I'm gonna bring in another example. So the answer is 9858. 9858. Okay, so all the 53 terms, their sum, okay, their summation is 9858. Okay, so this is how you do it. So you need to know how to use the formula. Definitely you have to know. Let us look at another example. All right, so interesting example. Let's look at this one. The same question but a different approach. Okay, the same question, a different approach, a different sequence. Minus 15, sorry, minus 9 minus 3 plus 3 plus some terms here. As you can see, guys, right, as you can see from here, we have some terms which we do not know that are missing. Okay, so let me come back to you one more time. Do we know the last term? Or let's write down what we know, because the question says determine the sum of first 20 terms. Okay, they say we should determine the sum of the first 20 terms. Okay, so the first 20 terms, how many terms do we have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we have 4 terms, which means 16 more. We want to get their summation. Okay, so 16 more which we do not know. So what are we going to do? We have the number of terms, so n is equal to 20. All right, so do we have a? Yes, negative 15. Yeah, do we have d? D, we can calculate d. We calculate d is equal to t2 subtract t1, so which is negative 9 subtract negative 15. So you need to be careful with the negatives. Okay, don't make a mistake. So we have negative 9, negative, that is a6. Okay, so d is 6. To boost your confidence, go for t3 minus t2. Alright, what about the last term? Seems we don't have the last term in this case. Okay, so the two formulas, we have Sn is equal to n divided by 2, 2a plus n minus 1 in brackets times d. And we have Sn is equal to n divided by 2a plus l. So which formula is suitable for this question? Determine the sum of the first 20 terms. So when I look at this series, guys, I do not see, from this series, I do not see the last term. So we don't have the last term, and this formula requires us to have the last term. So it requires us to have the last term. In this case, we don't have it, so we are not going to use it. We are going to use the first one. So sum of the first 20 terms is equal to 20 divided by 2 multiplied by 2 What is a? A is negative 15 plus n, that is 20, minus 1 times a 6, that is d. Alright, so right away we just calculate and get the answer right away. Okay, so that is 20 divided by 2, 10. 10 multiplied by 2, negative 30, that is negative 15, right, plus 19 times 6, right, that is 840. The sum is 840. 840, guys. That is the answer. 840. 840. Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, that was the two examples that I wanted us to look after we solved or proved the formula of the sum of the arithmetic series. So see you on the next video. Subscribe on our YouTube channel, and please don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page. Thank you.